Keith Ozols, who is the Executive Director of Incight, which is associated with Southeast Uplift Neighborhood Association.
Right.
So first off, we want to thank you for your time
Sure.
and taking some time out to educate us on a little bit about this program. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about Incight?
Sure. So Incight is 5 years old. We're a nonprofit based here in Portland, and we have several different programs that work with people with disabilities. We have an educational program that provides scholarships to students with disabilities to go on to post-secondary education. It can be training programs or college. But then we also have a work program that gets students involved in work experience where they're doing job shadows, internships, or any kind of real employment.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So Incight has received funding from small grants project in the past. So how did this allow Incight to grow throughout this time?
Well, what we were able to do with the grant was we created a curriculum and a guide for students with disabilities. This is the first one we created, and it allowed us to work with Cleveland High School locally in Portland, and we got this to a lot of students, and it really focused on training them to prepare for life after high school, thinking about college or employment.
Okay. So a little bit of direction.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. So has the Incight become sustainable? Like, meaning have you found new funding or other resources?
Yeah, directly related to this project. This was kind of the pilot. We were able to create a larger book that is now actually being sold, and this is something that is helping us sustain the programs, and we're selling it to school districts and colleges to be able to have earned income for our organization.
So this helps with sustainability in relation to the future years?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So is there anything that surprised you about the project, how it turned out?
Well, we had a couple community events where actually a lot of people who weren't directly related to Cleveland High School came out and participated in the creation of this guide and getting involved in our employment and education program. So I think that the small grants helped us get the community engaged at large.
A lot of unity going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does Incight help bring Portland's Southeast neighbors together, in your opinion?
Well, the nice thing was that we were able to connect the neighbors to projects in the community to get our students connected to them. So there were actually a couple employers who came out, learned about our projects, and then ended up hosting some of our students in their places of employment. So it was a good connection with that, but then we were also able to work with some parents and people who didn't know about us. So we were able to connect communities through our programs.
So further connections that you...
Yeah, it really helped us build our capacity.
Yeah, that's great. So typically word of mouth, in a sense?
Yeah, word of mouth, and then referrals from that word of mouth. So
great.
Good.
So how does Incight appeal to all the members of the community? How does that draw them?
Well, I think that a lot of people, if you don't have a disability, you don't feel like you're connected to it. But I think once you start working with an organization like Incight, you realize that that concept of the 7 degrees of separation is even shorter. It's smaller when you're thinking about disabilities. And I think that it affects everybody. And we even like to say that everybody has a disability, that everybody has barriers in their own lives. And Incight wants to broaden that perception and get people to think about how can a community help people overcome barriers to reaching their potential and goals.
Right. So barriers, any specific barriers?
Well, barriers can be self-imposed. They can be a lack of confidence in telling yourself, well, I can't do something because, and then that because is what we want to overcome.
Okay.
If that because is because I can't get into a building because I use a wheelchair or because I don't think I'm smart enough, we want to help people overcome those barriers and find a way to build a ramp or get into that building or to learn about different ways of accommodations that can help people overcome barriers to employment or education.
So at the same time, you're raising self-confidence and self-esteem as well.
Exactly, matching people with mentors and then also working on that that self-empowerment like you were saying.
Great. And how has Incight created new leaders or leadership roles within the Southeast neighborhood community?
Well, we were able to work with a lot of the youth that were in Cleveland High School, and we were able to connect them to some opportunities in their local neighborhood and getting them civically engaged. So we were able to help them get into volunteer positions where they were involved with some of the decisions about local parks, like Creston Park. And then we were able to get some of our students involved in the local government. So we referred them to the Coalition Southeast Uplift, to get them involved in that in their local neighborhood associations. And then we even had a student who ended up going to the city council, and he served on one of the local advisory boards.
Okay. Wow. So in relation to its current members, how does Incight encourage continuing involvement?
Well, we are always seeking partnerships with the local community, and we're always looking for opportunities that we can advocate for our participants to get involved locally, if it's civically, through education, or through employment. We're always seeking ways to create more inclusion for the people we work with.
Seems like you guys have a lot of partnerships and connections as it is, so you guys probably that wouldn't be a problem. So how does Incight build new or strengthen existing partnerships with other organizations or groups?
I think that it's being able to provide support for both the partner and for the participants in our program. So we really see it as an opportunity for us to empower people to become successful members and contributing members in society, but also make the placements and the partnerships strong in that we can help provide training and we can help provide any sort of help with accommodations once the people we work with are involved with them.
So, since we are here as a part of a civic leadership class, would you like to tell us what that term means to you, in your opinion?
Well, I think that it's a sense of empowering people to feel like they are able to get involved and to take ownership in their community. Lots of times people feel like they're disconnected and they don't have a voice, but I think that if there's programs like the neighborhood involvement program or anything that's going to boost civic involvement, it's very important. And I think that creating that sense of ownership and connectivity for people in the community to the greater community at large is essential, and I think it's a great thing.
Very important. Yeah, that's a good point. So is there anything else that you'd like us to know about Incight?
About Incight, I think that we're just very thankful for the city's support, and I think that it's great that you are studying this topic, and I wish you the best of luck. And
well, thank you.
Hope that maybe some of your participants would want to get involved with Incight.
And we've got lots of students that are always looking for volunteer opportunities, and so that might be good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.